on what's going on. Joining us, the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Adam Schiff of California. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah.
So now the U.S. has released the real name of Abu Sayyaf. He's the so-called chief financial officer of ISIS who was killed in that daring U.S. Delta Force raid. His real name, Fatih bin Aoun bin Jildi Murad el-Tunisi, the Tunisian. What role, can you tell us, what role did he really play? How important of a guy was this?
Well, he was a very important guy in terms of the financing of ISIS, and by some estimates, they derive up to $1.5 million a day from just from their oil sales. They also have kidnapping operations. They levy fees and fines on people. So he's a key figure in their financing. Now, he's not the very top leadership of ISIS itself, but nonetheless, he's viewed as having critical insights on how their finances are structured, who's responsible for the smuggling of oil and revenues back and forth, a lot of it over the Turkish border. So a lot of potential intelligence insights can be gained now from his wife, as well as the Yazidi captive, and all the documents and electronic materials that were seized.
Did they find a lot of documents and electronic material in that building?
There was a substantial amount that was seized. We don't know yet what's been found in terms of exploiting that. My guess is that began immediately because there's the potential for follow-on operations. But at this point, we're looking forward to a briefing later in the week on just what we've been able to ascertain.
We heard from James Risch, a Republican senator, a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, that she is talking right now, Sayyaf, the wife of this guy. What is she saying, do you know?
That I don't know.
But do you believe she has useful information?
I think that she does. That's certainly the understanding and expectation that that she had a role beyond that of being the spouse, that she may have had her own responsibilities, or certainly be knowledgeable of her husband's responsibilities. So we absolutely hope to gain insights from her.
Do we know if this husband and wife were directly responsible for the killing of any of those American hostages?
One of the things we're going to look at is what role they may have had in any hostages, or what they may know about the financing of their operations by hostage-taking. So without commenting on a particular case, we're certainly going to want to find out any information they have on hostage-taking.
Where is she being interrogated?
Well, I can't comment on that. I think we are working in conjunction, though, with Iraqi authorities. She's an Iraqi citizen, as I understand. And ultimately, the decision will be made jointly about where she ought to be brought for disposition or prosecution.
Because what happens after they're done interrogating her and they've gotten whatever useful information they might have? What happens to this woman? They leave her in Iraq, they bring her to the United States, they put her in a prison here. Do you know what they do with her?
Well, it probably depends on what the evidence is against her. If she did have an operational role in the organization, or if she had any role at all in terms of hostages, then I think there's a much higher probability that she'll be brought to the United States for prosecution. Otherwise, she may very well be provided to the Iraqi authorities, but I don't know what the disposition would be.
Had you ever heard of this Abu Sayyaf before this raid?
I had heard the name. I frankly didn't know much about him. I certainly know a fair amount about the financing of ISIS, but in terms of the particular personalities, there's not a lot I could have told you about him before this operation.
Based on what you know right now, and obviously there's still more information you need to know, but based on what you know right now, was it worth the risk to those Delta Force commandos to do this raid, go in with these helicopters, these Ospreys, go in there, risk their lives to capture this guy?
Wolf, I think it's a very close call, and a gutsy call by the Commander-in-Chief. I'm going to wait to see not only what we find, because then that's just the advantage of hindsight, but what we expected to be able to gain from the intelligence, because I am very concerned about the risks. Had one of our people been killed, or worse, captured and then killed, you can imagine the reaction of the public and the momentum for further escalation in terms of our role and our boots on the ground. So that has to be weighed very carefully, and I don't want to see us rush into a lot more of these operations without thinking about the real consequence if one of them goes bad, because these are unpredictable. And you saw just by the estimates of the number of security people that were killed by our forces, this wasn't easy by any means.
Was it smart to release this information to tell the world what the U.S. tried to do?
I think it is. I think we're still behind in the propaganda warfare with ISIS, and letting the world know, letting ISIS know, letting people who are watching ISIS around the world know that we can go after these people, that we do it very well. That, in fact, as has been released, they used civilians as human shields in these operations, hid behind women, I think it is useful to get that information.
All right, Congressman Schiff, I want you to stand by. We have more to talk about, including the major setback, as some are calling it, in Ramadi. What happened? Where were those Iraqi troops when the Iraqi people needed them? We'll have much more with Congressman Adam Schiff of the Intelligence Committee right after this.